Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the 37th Pygame tutorial video. In this video, what we're going to be doing is generating a function to handle this randapple x and randapple y. As we saw in the last video, editing this, anything within our function here, we have to edit in 3 different locations, which is kind of a red flag to you that something is wrong. Something wrong. So what I want to do is basically we're going to make a function to handle this. And it's just these 2 lines here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this. We'll copy that. And then we're going to come up to the top of our script. And we're going to make a new function right here. And we're just going to call this define randapple gen for randapple generation. And no parameters are necessary here, and then we can just paste this here. And it's always a good idea to, when you do something like this, is make sure all the variables in here will match up. So sometimes what you might need to do if you've got local variables is you'll make the function and then say like apple thickness. Not too long ago, apple thickness was actually a local variable, right? It was in the game loop, and we could still work with that if we wanted. We would just need to change, add a parameter here like object size and pass the value of apple thickness through object size. And instead of these being apple thickness, these would be object size. But since apple thickness is like a constant defined up here, we don't have to actually worry about that. So this will be empty parameters. Then we see that basically the only thing, and then we've got display width and display height, but again, those are just defined up here. So we've got our function. Now all we have to do is have this function return these values. So we'll have it return randapple x and then randapple y. Now, whenever we want to call this function and have it return data to us, all we have to do is we say randapple x, comma, randapple y equals randapple gen. So randapple gen is basically returning this tuple of randapple x, randapple y. We can assign that tuple using unpacking to this randx, rand y, and this needs to be a full function there. And that's all we need to call now. So we can take this, we'll cut this, and then we're going to head down into our script and we're going to find where we're calling these functions. So right here's the first example. So we can just basically delete that, paste our new function there. Now we'll find the other spots. I think we have 2 more. So keep scrolling. This is old code. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this now. We're not using that. And we'll find this, highlight that, delete, paste, and then again here, delete, paste. And that's it. That's all the places that we're calling those. So let's see if that worked out for us. So we have snake, congratulations, see to play, let's eat an apple. And sure enough, we're seeing that our apple is indeed generating in other locations. So that's good. So now we're able to modify our apple's functionalities, because we might not end up changing the size of the apple. We might end up doing a whole host of other things. The bottom line is, anytime we need to modify something within that functionality, we saw that we had to go through quite a few different locations. It's highly likely that you'll maybe forget about one of the other locations. So these 2, it's easy enough, but the initial definition of it, wherever that is up here, I think somewhere, right, it would be easy to have forgotten about that one, and so on. So it's always a good idea to, if you're going to have variables at all, to obviously have a variable definition to them so we can change the variables near the top and we always know where to find them. But then when you've got a similar block of code that you find that you're running in many, many places, it's best that we turn that into a function, because making changes to it will require quite a bit of edits, and not only is it a lot of work, you might forget some spots. So now we've got that function working, so we're pretty happy there. And now what we're going to be doing in the next videos, we're going to work on adding scoring to our game as well as pausing to our game, because sometimes users want to be able to pause. So that's what's coming up. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying. As always, thanks for watching. Stay tuned to the next video.